Mexican culture places a strong emphasis on family connection. True or false?
That's totally true. Yeah, for sure.
Mexico is home to the world's largest pyramid by volume. True or false?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
In Mexican business settings, direct communication is the norm, and people rarely use indirect expressions to convey messages. True or false?
We usually are very indirect and take a lot of detours to say what we want to say.
Hi, and welcome to ASHA Global Voices Podcast. My name is Tjasa Strle, and I'm a cross-cultural leadership coach and the creator of ASHA Global Voice. Together with my guests, we are sharing stories from around the world about different cultures, leadership, and human experiences that connect us. If you like what you hear, please hit the subscribe button. Your support means the world to me. And now, let's dive into today's episode. Hi, and welcome to ASHA Global Voices Podcast. Today, my guest is Rocío Ramírez from Mexico. She's a professor at the university with an MBA and over 21 years of experiences in business education. Rocío specializes in organizational learning and innovation methodologies, mentoring more than 60 startups in lean methodologies at a startup incubator. Rocío also consults on innovation and education for various international and local clients. Outside of work, she has been married for 25 years, is a mother of two, and shares her home with two dogs. Welcome, Rocío. It's such a pleasure having you here with us today.
Thank you, Tjasa. It's a great experience for me to be part of this curiosity on exploring different cultures around the world and talk about how we interact on it with each other. So thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. And I know that we both share this curiosity and exploration of different cultures. And if we start at the beginning with the statements true or false. So the first statement was that Mexican culture places a strong emphasis on family connections. And you said that this one is true. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, well, we Mexicans, we have a strong attachment to our family and friends. We need close relations with people, and it's very difficult for us to let go. Usually, let me give you an example to be plain. Like, for example, I have two children. They already are grown-ups, adults, and they live abroad. One lives I don't live in Mexico City. I live in the northern part of Mexico, 3 hours away from Mexico City in a plane. So my daughter lives in Mexico City. She moved to Mexico City because of work. And my son, he lives in the United States. And I call them twice a week, and I am the weirdo in my culture. When I say this to Mexicans, they are like, why do you call them so little? I mean, the usual thing for a Mexican mom would be to call daily and maybe several times a day. It's like, what are you up to? What did you eat? And it's that you can't let go of family ties. And so, yeah, I think we are very close. And so, usually in Mexico, we have this saying that you don't marry just your partner, you marry the whole family, because that close is the family connection.
So connected. So is family also playing a big role, for example, in business settings when you're making business decisions, maybe changing careers?
Yes, probably around 70-80% of our companies probably are family owned. Usually, the first people you go to be your partners in business will be your family. You go to your family to be your business partner as your first option, always. And this is good, of course, because you trust people. But when something bad happens, such as maybe a divorce or something like that, this complicates matters, because even families can break apart when something like this happens. This is very common in Mexican businesses. All the time we see it.
Okay, very interesting. So business and family really interconnected.
Yes, it's very common that you have family in your business.
Okay. And the second statement was that Mexico is home of the world's largest pyramid by volume. And you said that this one is true. Can you tell us also the name of the pyramid if you know it?
Yeah, this is the Cholula Pyramid. This is very close to Mexico City, 2 hours drive. And this is you wouldn't notice that it's a pyramid. It's more like a hill. It has a lot of forestry and stuff. And at the top of it, you have a little church, a Catholic church. And this is because probably the Spaniards in the 1500s, they knew that this was a pyramid. This was a center of adoring the gods of the indigenous people. And usually, when they found places like this, they tore them down and they put the religious centers in those places. But this was so big, and probably it was abandoned for long ago, that they couldn't tear it apart. And so they just build it on the top, the church. And so you see this massive hill and the little church on the top. But people that study this they say because of the geometry is most likely a huge pyramid. Yeah.
Interesting. And in general, you have quite a lot of pyramids in Mexico.
Yes, we have a lot of different cultures. Before Spain came to conquer Mexico, we had a lot of cultures that their main religious centers took the shape of a pyramid. So we have a lot of cultures around Mexico that have a pyramid as the center of their religious life.
And tell me, the last statement was that in Mexican business settings, direct communication is the norm, and people rarely use indirect expressions to convey messages. You said that this one is false, and I already elaborated it a little bit. But yeah, do tell us a bit more about it. So it's not a direct communication.
Not at all. You cannot expect a Mexican person to be direct to you, especially if that person wants to give you a bad feedback or if he has bad news to tell you. Most likely, we're going to start fidgeting and telling you something else and talking about the weather. And we're going to talk about three different topics before we go to the thing that we really want to say to you. I follow this Instagrammer that is a German guy that lives in Mexico now for several years. And he says this wasn't one of the things that was more surprising for him, because German culture is very direct. Like, I tell you what you're doing wrong in a workplace setting, for example, and that I need you to improve this. And that's it. And in Mexico, it was like, hey, you're doing great, but maybe you need to do this better. And it's not anything personal, but yeah, I would love you to do this. And we are very indirect in our communication. And he was very surprised about it. So yeah, you cannot expect a Mexican person to be direct, especially with bad news.
I guess for the foreigner, for this example, the German one was challenging to really grasp the critical feedback as well. If it was kind of said, maybe this could be improved. But for you as Mexican, so Mexican to Mexican, you would totally get it that this is a critique.
Oh yeah, we can even get angry at that person, and we understand that this was very negative, and we sort of have this way of understand and feel the two levels of communication. Like, on the surface level you are saying good things, but on the other level you are giving a critique. So yeah, this is something that you practice since you are like, I don't know, a teenager. Just start noticing this stuff, and it's very common in our language.
Absolutely. And I'm just curious to know, I don't know if you ever experienced like a critique or maybe a negative feedback from somebody that it's from a more direct communication culture. And how was it for you?
Well, yeah, I have some experiences working with people, with foreign people, especially with people from the United States, because where I live is in the northern part of Mexico. We are very close to Texas, and I am only 4 hours drive from El Paso, Texas. So we have a lot of business with American people. And they are very direct also as Germans. They don't like something and they tell you, right? And all that when they come to Mexico, they get exasperated because you don't tell them directly what you need. It's like they say, but what do you need? It's like they get anxious because it's yeah, but tell me what you need. And we are trying to be polite. We don't want to be rude. We feel that it's too rude to just call and say we have a to bring to fix your machine because it didn't work. So send me these pieces or something like that. We feel it's too rude to tell you that your machine is broken and it's not working. So it's like, hey, how are you? I hope you're well. We received your machine. It was beautiful. Your packaging is great. Maybe I can talk to you about the performance of the machinery because, and they are like, you're wasting my time. I mean, just tell me what you need. So that's an example of especially in time essence with Americans. They are like very fast. They want to move in a very fast pace, and we take our time in communicating. Yeah.
It's so interesting how different we are with our cultures. And tell me, Rocío, how do you greet each other in Mexico?
Well, our greetings, usually when you know someone, you already know and have some trust with that person, you will kiss on the cheek. Even if it's a man, woman, it doesn't matter. Like, for example, with my boss, every day that I get to the office, is like, hey, how are you? And you kiss on the cheek. That's all right. That's totally normal. And even with my students, for example, I teach at the university, and most of them is like, hey, how are you? And good morning. I enter the classroom and that's it. But once they come and want to ask a question, and if I already taught them 2 or 3 classes, they feel comfortable enough to come and kiss me in the cheek. Hey, how are you? And they kiss me in the cheek. This, for example, we had a professor from Germany, and he was totally shocked at this. He was like, he saw that the principal, the major at the university, was kissing in the cheek to some of the female students. And he was like, you could get fired from the job from doing this. And he was like, no, why? I mean, I know her mom because we went to school together, and this is totally normal. I mean, I'm just greeting her. And he was like, in Germany, you could get fired if you do that. If you kiss a student, she's a female, you're a male, and this is totally bonkers. He was like, and so he was like very, distant with students, keeping his personal space. And besides, he was a very tall man. So he was like always distant, and students graded him a little badly at first because they say he's like he doesn't like us Mexicans. That was the perception. And he says, why they say that we didn't like? And we said, because you don't greet them, because you don't approach them. So this is the way we usually greet each other. Now, if you don't know a person, the most common thing is that you shake hands. You are introduced by a third person. If you don't have someone to introduce you, then you can introduce yourself with your name, your profession, and why you are interested in meeting this person. So maybe, yeah, you know this person, you meet it at a restaurant or something, and you can say, hey, I'm Rocío Ramírez. I work as a university professor, and I wanted to present to meet you because this and this and this, right? And so he's going to share the conversation a few minutes, and then exchange numbers or something, and each of you go on your ways. Yeah, that would be it. Yeah.
Okay, really interesting, especially the example from the university and professors and students. I resonate with the German professor because it's similar in Slovenia, but in general we don't kiss each other. Well, only with very very close friends, but it's not something that it's common in the culture. Unfortunately, I like it.
Yeah, I know. It's something that it sounds maybe invasive to foreigners when they come to Mexico. It's like, why are these people so close to me? I know maybe our management of the personal space it's as Latins, not only as Mexicans. I think that maybe if you go to Cuba or you go to Bolivia or you go to any part of Latin America, it's
Or
going to
even
be very,
Spain.
yeah, even Spain. We Latin cultures tend to be more close in the personal space. So yeah, I had this professor from the US. He came to teach us once, and I had he taught me finance. It was very difficult. This is the thing that in university I really struggled with. So I really wanted to learn, and so I approached him, and I was like with my notebook and everything, like, "Hey, can you explain to me?" And I was like, like this close, and he kept moving away from me, but I felt like I couldn't see what he was telling me, so I moved back, and he was moving away, and we moved like 9 meters in space. And after that, I received from my a complaint from this professor that I was harassing him. And so I got this call. I got yelled at because I was harassing him. And this is the first time that I understood cultural differences. I was only 19 years old. So this is the first time I understood. Really, I had no bad intentions at all. But I said, yeah, we Mexicans, we usually are very close in our personal space, and not everyone is going to like that. But for foreigners that are not used to that, know that this is not with a bad intention. It's just the way we are. Yeah.
Absolutely. It is. That's why it's so important that we educate ourselves about different cultures, especially if we are connected somehow, be it in universities or business or personal lives with people from other cultures. Otherwise, misunderstandings occur for no reason, no need for that to happen. But yeah, understandable. Tell me, Lucio, what would you say defines Mexican culture in your eyes?
I would say we Mexicans as a culture are very hardworking people. We are used to work long hours, hard works. So yeah, we are hardworking people, and we are take it with a lot of happiness, joy. I don't know how to say it, but we're very joyful people. We love to party. I mean, if you see Mexican people, you're going to see them laughing, partying, music, of course, drinking probably. Oh yeah, Mexican people is very, very, we love a lot to express joy, to celebrate things. And so probably that we're going to invent some reason to get together and celebrate. So yeah, this is a very common trait in our culture, that when foreigners come, they love that. There's like, you're very joyful. You like to party a lot. That's something that they really like. And we are very warm people. We are not like leaving you away or rejecting you. We're very warm, we're welcoming people. So it's like, yeah, come over, and as long as you like our culture, as long as you don't criticize it, you will be welcome in our country, in our families, in our groups of friends, and it's going to be very easy for you to integrate to Mexican culture, for example. So I think that's the definition for Mexicans. And also maybe because I don't want to talk only about nice things, but maybe you also need to get ready to see some contrasting situations in Mexican culture. So what we are very used to live with contrasting situations. And so you're going to find a lot of people like making little frauds,
Okay?
like, I don't know how to say, like, for example, if you get a police ticket because you park your car wrongly, they are going to say, hey, how can I not get the ticket? Maybe we can work something out with the policeman. I mean, those little frauds, they are going to be very common also in our Mexican culture, like people trying to get away from the rules and from the established things. That's going to happen also with Mexicans. It's like, yeah, I know the rules, they are important, but in this case, they don't apply to me because, and they are going to invent some excuse, they are going to say something. And you need to understand that's part of the Mexican culture, like negotiating with the rules and trying to accommodate them according to what you need. So that's something that you need to get used. It's something I don't really like about our culture, but it's happening everywhere every day. So yeah, that would say I would say it's also very Mexican.
Thank you so much for sharing this so openly as well, not just the aspects of the Mexican culture that you like, but also the things that are maybe not so like. Thank you. And tell me, also Mexico is known for its vibrant traditions like Dia de los Muertos and fiestas, as you mentioned also before. Mexicans like to party, happy, joyful people. And tell me, how does this tradition shape community and professional dynamics, in your opinion?
I would say that we are always trying to incorporate and innovate on these traditions. Usually there's some expectation about what's going to happen in these holidays, in these special occasions. So for instance, now in Christmas, we have this crazy, I don't know if you have these crazy tendencies as well, trends in social media where people is making interchanges in the office, like they are interchanging crazy socks or crazy shoes, crazy home shoes, the shoes that you have to stay comfortable in your house, get up, that kind of shoes
You are changing it with your colleagues at
with
work.
your colleague. Yeah, you get like a random paper and you get the name of a colleague. And so, like for example, I get Tjasa, and I get you a pair of crazy shoes or crazy slippers or even crazy sweatshirts to be around your house with a
But why?
particular.
Why is it crazy? Why it is a crazy shirt or
Oh, why it's crazy? Because it has to be something like you wouldn't wear outside.
okay,
So maybe it has photos of your boyfriend all around or a big photo on it. Or maybe it's got like this big shark because you love sharks. Or, it has to be
okay, I get it.
something crazy that makes everyone laugh. Or maybe these socks, like they have like holes on it, something that makes people laugh when you receive the gift. It's more about the party of receiving and opening there and seeing what people got you. And this
Uh-huh.
kind of things we do very common, and we may even spice things up and make things like more sexy. Yeah, we do those kinds of things in Christmas. I mean, why would you do that? I don't know, but we do it. We Mexicans are very like that. We make these interchanges in Valentine's Day. Probably we're going to do something in the workplace as well. And so every important holiday, we're going to have something festive to celebrate. We're going to have something to do. I don't know if you do that as well, but for example, here in my university, on Valentine's, probably we're going to take chocolates or candy to our students, paid by the university. Like, this is a special day, and here's your chocolate. Or maybe the first day of coming to school, the principal is receiving the students with hot chocolate and donuts because hey, it's like a very important day, like first day of or when they graduate, we make like this, all the professors and all the administrative people make like this path, and the graduate people walk among that path, and we are like celebrating and making noise, and we are throwing confetti or doing something very festive, like hey, you graduated. So you see, it's not only the holidays like that are prescribed, like Dia de los Muertos, but we invent others that celebrate things because we are party people. I mean, we really need to celebrate milestones. And so we invent them. and we shape things up and we innovate on how to do it. So yeah, that's very common, and you're going to see that all in social media in Mexico, like this is what we did and this is what we did, and we're going to be competing to do something better or something more fun, that's Mexico.
But that sounds so nice. Like if I can imagine, if you are constantly celebrating something, either holidays, traditional festivities, or something that you invent, you feel good, right? If celebration is always good, I would say it gives you positive energy.
I really enjoy it. There is the you remember the two communications that I say? You can use this in a nice, direct, candid way, or you can use this to, throw shade to people. Like you give them a very bad gift because they did something bad to you at work. And so you make sure they don't receive a nice gift. Or
That's not my.
that kind of thing can happen. And another thing that some people complain is that they spend a lot in gifts because this happens very often. So eventually it's like I have to buy another gift for another of these situations. Or I have to pitch in again for some of these celebrations. And this is eating a lot of my budget. So yeah, this is like, and if I don't do it, I look like the cheap in the office.
Okay,
So this
okay,
is
okay. I understand. This is another part of
another
this
bad
festivities.
part of this that I've seen also some people complaining about. But personally, I love it. They say, do you want to participate in this? Yes. I mean, I like it and I like to use it in the good way. Yeah, I think it fosters this kind of collaboration and knowing your coworkers so that you know them not only in the transactional level of the work, but also in the personal level. Like, what do you like? What should include I in your present? And I like this. Yeah, I really like it.
And would you say that is it common in Mexico to spend time outside of work with your coworkers as well, or
Yes,
not?
totally. No, yes, totally. Most of the people, they have like this group of friends of the work that you spend maybe an evening a month or maybe a week if you are very close together, having drinks or, partying, depending. But yeah, I would say totally, yes. They spend time outside of work. Some companies even they have the budget. They give budget like this is money for you to go outside and do something like whatever you want to do. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So that you can spending time with your coworkers outside of
Yes.
work.
The head of
Okay.
department, he manages the budget and he says, okay, we have this budget and what do you want to do? And you can do a trip or maybe you can do several activities in the city and you decide
Yeah.
what to do. Yeah, there
Time
are
for
companies
socializing.
for socializing. Yeah, and the company has a budget for it.
And tell me, Rocio, you already mentioned that you Mexicans are hardworking, which probably also means that you are working long hours. But I would also like to ask you, what do you think? What is the Mexican approach to work-life balance, in your opinion?
Well, we are. I was reading something about because of the work schedule we have. We are, I think, number one in the organization of work, International Organization of Work. We are number one, the one that works more hours in a year, the country that has more workable hours per law. So it's because of the law. We have a law where you work 7 days, 6 days a week. You only have one day off. You work from Monday to Saturday and you work 8 hours a day. So it's a long labored week. And also we have very few days off. I think it's 8 a year, 8 holidays in the law. So I think it's because of how the law is written. There were some talks in the government to change it. They didn't arrive to something different. So that's why we work that many hours. And so I would say that we Mexicans are used to work that many hours because we need to fulfill the hours that we need by law with our employers. And there is something that happens also with Mexicans, that because you ask me to work so many hours and my wages are not the best, they are not the best in the worldwide community. So I will play to work. I will fake that I'm working, but reality I'm be working somewhere else, online or something. So I'm faking to be working for you because I need an extra income or something. So yeah, that happens. That probably works. We have a saying in Mexico, like, if you fake to pay me well, I fake to work well, something like that. So yeah, that could happen with a Mexican culture kind of employee. But most of the time, the people I work with, they are hardworking people that really are invested in their works and they really try to do the best for their company.
And how many days of leave do you usually get? Holidays
Whole as vacation
per
or
week, yeah. Vacations that you can take per year, yeah.
per year. Once you have a 1 year complete with a company, you have, and this changed recently, like 3 or 4 years ago, because we only had 7, and they move it to 15. Yeah,
15 days of,
15 days.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really work a lot. And
Yes. Yes, I know. So yeah, we are hardworking people because of how the law is written. And there were some movements, but it didn't change. Yeah.
little change so far. Okay. And tell me, Rocío, what would be your advice to someone starting to work with Mexicans in order to kind of build the relationship, build trust, and make a good impression?
Well, I would say there are a lot of stereotypes about Mexicans. So the first thing I would say is try to not come into working with Mexicans with those stereotypes.
Can you give me one example of a stereotype that
Yeah,
comes to
for
mind?
example, I'll talk about my sister. She works online with a company and she has a lot of coworkers from different parts of the world. But she gave me an example with British people that she says, like, they think that we Mexicans are like dumb, like we are not very intelligent or very well educated. I don't know why, but it's like their stereotype. And so every time that we try to, give an opinion or say something, it's like they belittle us, like, yeah, 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 you're Mexican. So that kind of thing, like, try to make your mental map of what have you heard about Mexicans and put it on writing. And because if you don't make yourself conscious about what you think about people from other culture, you're going to unconsciously behave that way towards them, like these British people with my sister. I know they don't do it for sure. I mean, my sister has a master's degree and she's very intelligent, but she feels this way every time she works with them. It's very obvious to her. So I would say that's good. There are a lot of stereotypes about Mexicans, like we are not well educated, or like we are, like very fraudulent people, like we make frauds and things like that, or like we are maybe, I don't know, that we don't work hard enough. So maybe if you have heard something like that, put it on writing and try to put it aside and judge the person. That's what I would say. Because most of Mexicans that I've known have nothing to do with these stereotypes if you give them the chance. But if you treat them like the stereotype, they are going to respond like that. Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, if you treat me bad, I'm going to treat you bad also. So I would say that. I would say, like, treat people like that to gain trust. And we Mexicans love foreigners. So we love to understand your culture. And so try to talk to us, maybe share your culture a little bit in a social environment. Like, yeah, after a week or so, maybe have a social gathering where you share a typical dish or something and you say, this is what we eat, this is what we like, and I love Mexican food. Praise Mexican food and we will love you, of course, because yeah, we are very proud of
And
of
it's
our.
good.
Yes, and it's very good. So yeah, probably you like it. Probably you like whatever we give you. So and don't criticize us. I mean, there's people that start like criticizing, like, why would you do this? Why would you do? Why are you so punctual? Why would you try not to criticize us? And I think you will fit perfectly in maybe in a leadership way. We are used to the boss giving orders. We are used to like, we call that we like the boss to solve things. So to be a person that makes decisions. We like a boss to be confident. We don't like a boss like, I don't know what to do, what would you do, what is correct, that is very ambiguous or that is very afraid of making a decision. Is like, why is he the boss? He doesn't even know what to do. We are very skeptical about a person like that. So even though if you have some questions, you can say, hey, I want to see your opinion on this. I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? That's okay. But sounding like you have a lot of anxiety, that is not going to work with us. So it's more like you feel like, I'm making this decision. What do you think? Is it good? Is it bad? I want your opinion. And usually individually, not in a group. With the group, it's more like, this is what we're going to do. I would say that's the way we are used to see our leaders, like very decisive and very secure of their decisions. So yeah, I would say that.
Okay. Thank you for sharing this. And also the insights regarding how not to look through the lens of stereotypes or your biases when approaching Mexicans. I think it's also a great advice just in general going to another culture. Don't think that you are smarter or that you know better or, great advice. Thank you, Rocio. And I also know that you are very interested in emotional intelligence. I also met you when you were delivering a workshop on emotional intelligence, and I was impressed. And I would love you to share as well with our audience what is emotional intelligence and why do you think it's important to have it?
Well, this is a topic I love, that I'm passionate about, because I really think it makes, there are numerous studies that show it makes the difference in your life in all areas. It makes your social and personal life more happy and effective, but it also makes you a higher rank in your job, right? So emotional intelligence is this ability that you have to understand your emotions and to manage them according to the situation, but also others' emotions, to understand by their gesture and by their tone of their voice and by their demeanor how they are feeling and why they are feeling, and act in consequence. So, this is emotional intelligence in its basic definition. I really love reading anything that Daniel Goleman puts in the table. I really loved everything. He's like the one that I really like, the way he writes, the way he researches. I think he's very easy to read, easy to understand. He doesn't fuss, he doesn't make it complicated. And the reason I am interested into this is because I've noticed it with my students. It's like you notice this kind of student that has this ability to know himself, to know his emotions, and to know the others around. And he immediately is like a magnet to other people. He makes people feel confident. He or she starts attracting others and becomes a natural leader. So I find this very interesting that in every group you find these, I don't know, 10% of the students that have this ability. And it has to do with how they manage their own emotions and how they can handle the emotions of others. And so that's why I like this topic. Yeah.
To some, it comes more naturally, as you described already. Some students have it, but emotional intelligence can be also learned and developed, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. I mean, of course, this has a lot to do with, well, of course, your natural temper, but also how you were educated at your house. If you were struggling in an environment where there was violence, where you were unattended, of course, your skills on emotional intelligence are going to be diminished. But however, there are what Daniel Goleman calls complementary relations in your adult life, that once you say, okay, I am a grown up, I don't have the skills, I don't possess this magic, as we can call it, but I want to learn it, I want to develop it. There's a lot of things that you can do. Start working inner in yourself with trends, with methodologies, with tools that you can look up. But also, the best thing that you can do, and the most effective thing, is to have these safe relationships with people around you, people that really love you, people that are honest with you, that can be honest and candid and tell you you did this wrong, that really care for you. And so these complementary relationships, they are going to upgrade your emotional intelligence in like nothing else will. So if you feel this need, what you need to find is that kind of person in your adult life. Like, who is good with their emotions, who is good, making decisions for themselves, who is good at understanding other people and how they feel, and then approach them and, hey, I want to have a friendship with you. I really want to be your friend. And so this relation is going to do wonders for you. Yeah.
So spending time with someone that has a higher emotional intelligence also affects you. You are learning with this person together.
Yes, you're
Just
going to
by
know.
being close to them, observing what they do, how they react, how they manage their emotions will affect you in a positive way as well.
And being in a relation with them, because you're going to learn how that person relates to another person in a secure way. Like when that person is angry, how that person reflects the anger. When that person is sad, how that person reflects sadness. And you're going to learn these safe ways to show emotions without destroying relations. So this is something new that you didn't experience, because you didn't experience it in your childhood. And when you experience it with someone that really has emotional intelligence, no matter how many times you read it in a book, when you really experience it, it's like a shock. It's like, what is happening here? How is this person so controlled and so, And that's when you say, I want to be like that. And that's when your inner imagery changes. Is like, my God, this can be done. And that's when it is kept in your mind like a new way of behaving. So yeah.
Great, great. Thanks for sharing this. And I also know, Rocío, and I am as well, that you are interested in conscious capitalism. And I would love if you can just tell us a little bit about it. Tell our audience what is conscious capitalism and why do you like it?
Well, I work for a university that found this topic of conscious capitalism to be a headstone for our country, for Mexico. Mexico is one of the countries that has more differences between rich and poor people. We have, for some time, we had the richest man on earth, like 2 or 3 years, the richest man on earth before Jeff Bezos and before Tesla's guy, I forgot the name, Elon Musk. There was a Mexican guy being the richest man in the 2000s, I think. So that kind of richness can Mexico generate. And on the other hand, we have people that lives in very bad conditions with less than $1 a day. So Mexico is a country of contrast. And you say, why is this happening? And it's because of capitalism as it is, right? Because I have the money, I have the enterprises, and I can do and accumulate richness and don't share it, right? So what I like about conscious capitalism is that it says, yes, capitalism is the best thing that we have discovered as human race to generate wealth and to generate development. But it has this big flaw that it generates inequality. And so we need to address that. We need to understand that it's time to address this change, to address this gap, this problem of capitalism, if you can call it like that. And he says, let's talk about what to change on capitalism. How do we put new rules in capitalism that, yeah, you can create wealth, you are the owner of the enterprise, but you also need to adhere to new rules. You need to compete with new rules, like how well are you paying, not only because of the law, but because of other things. And how well are you respecting the environment, for instance? Not only what the law says, but beyond, like, are you respecting the resources for the next generation? And if you don't, then you have to pay an extra to replenish them, for instance. And so these kind of pillars that they talk about a higher purpose, not just making money, but also delivering something for humanity, doing something good with your company, not only making money, the stakeholder orientation, not only my stakeholders, shareholders, but also anyone involved in the system, my customers, my employees, my suppliers, the future generations I'm compromising. And so they also need to be involved in what I'm doing as a company. And this is the pillar that I like the most, because it's like, who else is being affected by my company in this capitalism? And so that's what I really, that's the pillar that I like the most. And also the conscious culture and the conscious leadership. Like, what is the culture in my company? Are we conscious about what we're doing and how we're doing it? Are we not doing anything illegal or bad against someone else? Is not anyone else paying for me to be rich, for me to achieve my goals as a company, for my business goals? And if it is, then let's fix it. Let's do something for those people. And that comes with the leader, and that starts with the leader. That's basically conscious capitalism. And I really like that there's this way of starting, even in small companies with low budget, like very specific actions that you can take, like even mapping your stakeholders and calling them into the table so that they tell you what they need. And so you have the bigger picture and understand the impacts of your business. So yeah, that's basically, in a nutshell, capitalism.
Thank you for sharing this. And I hope conscious capitalism will one day become worldwide known and practiced. But maybe we can only hope. And it's a bit utopic that everywhere it would be accepted. But I would wish for definitely everything that you described sounds super amazing. And tell me, Rocío, what makes a great leader in your opinion?
What makes a great leader? I think a great leader is that person that, for me, the first thing of leadership is that you have the awareness of the persons you're leading. You understand them, or talking about emotional intelligence, you understand their needs. You understand their place in life, who they are, what are their needs. You have this empathy on emotions, on situation. And based on that, then you know what you can ask for. And of course, I would always complement that understanding of the people you're leading with high technical skills. that you know what you are going to ask from them, and the structural skills. To me, there is three things that make a good leader: the empathy or personal part, the technical, and the organizational one, giving a structure to the task in hand. So that would be a good leader for me.
For sharing this. And as you mentioned also before, in Mexican culture, it's kind of common that the leader also gives direction, gives clear instructions, and presents himself or herself confidently.
Yes, totally. We love charismatic leaders. It's going to be very easy to put yourself in a leadership position in Mexico if you are confident and you are charismatic and you know what you're talking about.
Maybe one last question on leadership. If I ask you directly, let's say in some other cultures, for example, in Sweden, egalitarian leadership is more common, which means that kind of the leader is one of the team members and he's not the boss or she's not the boss. They are kind of equal. They're also calling each other by their names and they are really discussing maybe decisions as well more often. So if let's say this Swedish leader would come to the Mexican culture and would want to lead in this kind of manner, this would be seen as completely inappropriate, right? Because of the difference in leadership styles.
In general, I would say yes. In general, Mexican people, when a leader would feel like this is your job, this is why they pay you to tell us what to do. Of course, there are exceptions as to any rule where people will feel confident if you have an expert team, if you are working in a very specialized field where everyone has their specialization. They would welcome this kind of leadership probably, but it would take time to develop the trust. I would say for that kind of leadership, it would take a lot of time to develop trust in Mexicans to really say what they think to that kind of leader. And so if the leader is not aware of that, he's going to get the everything yes from their coworkers. It's like everything you say is wonderful. Every idea you have is great and everything you say is perfect. And he's going to notice that probably the confrontation he gets from Switzerland coworkers is not going to get it in Mexico. And he's going to feel frustrated because we are not used to confrontate our boss. He's pitching us an idea that we see risky, that we see difficult, that we find not good, and we're going to say let's make he makes that idea and he's going to find he's going to fail, but let him do it. We're not going to say anything, because if we say something, we usually think we're going to get fired, that he's going to get angry, that he's going to say you don't like my ideas, I am the boss here, I decide what to do, and so I'm going to fire you. This is usually the way we Mexicans think. And so even if it is a bad idea, we're going to say, great idea, boss. Yeah, we love it. Let's do it. And he's not going to get negative feedback. He's not going to get confrontation, or he's going to get it in a very indirect way. It's a great idea, but maybe we can add this or we can add that and we can do that. And he's going to have it in a very indirect way. And it's going to take a lot of time for people understand that he wants a direct confrontation, that he really wants to hear their input as they think it. That's going to take a while. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you for sharing this insight. And as we are approaching the end of this podcast, I would love to ask you one last question that I ask all of my guests. With everything happening around the world, if you could imagine a brighter future to live in, what would that look like for people globally?
No war. That would be for me. That would be for me. No war. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a beautiful wish. I wish the same. Thank you so much, Rocio, for everything that you shared. It's been such a pleasure. It was so interesting, so insightful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. I really appreciate all your questions. I hope you love Mexico and you want to visit it. And if anytime you feel like you have the opportunity to come, feel welcome in my house. And we are just waiting for you to be here, really.
I'm coming, definitely. Thank you so much, Rocío.
Thank you.